Well, good afternoon, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It's hump day. It's time to get over the hump. It's time to start thinking about the weekend. Time to think about the weekend. And we're getting closer and closer to the season being over, and it's been a rough season. And I think back in my mind here about all the things that have transpired this year. I have had, I've actually done a lot of traveling this year because we started out last year with Chef, David Wiley and Game Time Brian and Primetime Phil, going to the draft in Detroit. We had a great time there. And then, of course, going to training camp. And, Stephen Jones is not a fan favorite. You probably would say, you'd probably think, I'd like to hang out with Jerry Jones. That would be fun. You would think that, that'd be cool. You may not like all the moves and stuff, but you got to figure you're going to get a great quote. You're going to have a good time and things like that, right? I don't know that anybody says I'd like to hang out with Stephen Jones. And Stephen Jones has not helped his case much with some of the things that he said. And one of those things was when we were at training camp, when training camp opened, and they asked him, they said, hey, are you worried about the backlash from the fans that not getting to an NFC championship game, that they're kind of upset, they're being left there and that you're going to have fan backlash? And Steven's response was, well, as far as production goes, we're right there with the Kansas City Chiefs in the amount of wins that we've had the last 3 years. We've had 3 years of 12-5 and things. And as far as renewals go, we're the highest we've ever been. They're buying tickets like crazy. And it's kind of like, so we're upset because we're not winning, and you're touting loser statistics. Well, in the regular season, we had 3 12-5 years. We're right there in production. We're not right there in production because Kansas City's going to the 3rd Super Bowl in a row to do something historic. Yeah, it's nice that you were 12-5 3 years in a row, but ain't nobody looking at that and saying, oh my God, the Dallas Cowboys, they were 12-5. They were the first team to go 12-5 3 years in a row after they started doing 17 games. It's unbelievable. That Cowboy, no, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. That's great. Congratulations. But what have you done in the playoffs? Doesn't mean shit. You could look and say there was a 15-1 Minnesota Viking team that lost in the playoffs. Don't nobody talk about that team. Don't nobody talk about that team. Don't nobody talk about an 18-0 New England Patriots team that lost in the Super Bowl. They talk about the Giants being the New England Killers, destroying the perfect season. So you don't get any credit for that, but you do get paid. And so now you got the whole air quotes thing that's going on. But before I get to that, I think everybody missed a little something here that's really kind of shocking. When the press conference took off on Monday for Brian Schottenheimer, people focused in on when they introduced Stephen Jones, and nobody clapped. And it was kind of like Brian Schottenheimer were kind of, we'll clap for you, trying to get the crowd up there because this is my new boss. Listen, just watch this for a second and see if you pick up on what I'm talking about here.
Here to the Star in Frisco. I'd like to introduce our participants here on the stage who everybody knows. Of course, Cowboys owner, president, and general manager, Jerry Jones.
Okay.
Our new Dallas Cowboys head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. And Chief Operating Officer, Executive Vice President of Player Personnel, and co-owner, Stephen Jones. All righty.
Yeah, we'll clap for you.
Now,
did you miss
what
it?
we'd like to start off with is some.
Did you get it? Did you get it? What dude said? It was Brian Schottenheimer. Hey, we'll clap for you. You know, let's get a sympathy clap going. But that's not what I'm talking about. The introduction for Stephen Jones. Listen to him.
Executive Vice President of Player Personnel and co-owner Stephen Jones.
Did you hear it?
And co-owner Stephen Jones.
Co-owner?
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I was watching this again because I wanted to get back to the whole, where he did the air quotes. And I started watching it, and I had to go, what? He said co-owner. He said co-owner. Did Jerry Jones go ahead and already name him as the owner of the team? Or was that just a slip? So understand, people, for people who say you will never win anything till Jerry Jones is gone, you know that he just got named owner, co-owner. And he's a babbling idiot. And they literally are getting clowned. So, yes. Now, maybe this guy got it wrong and, he was trying to get some points here. I don't know. But when Stephen Jones dismisses the playoff drought, I have to say I've learned in my 23 years and one day of being with Miss Tracy. When you first get together and you have problems and things like that, you don't want to admit that you made mistakes. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And what I learned, and because my wife basically hammered it in my head, is own your shit. Own your shit. Stop trying to cover it up. Stop trying to lie about it. Own your shit so we can move the F on. Don't bullshit me. Tell it like it is. And what I learned about that was, as much as you don't want to hear shit about the shit you just messed up that you were shitty about, it was better off to deal with the shit than to have to deal with the shit and the cover-up and the lack of trust. And that's where Stephen Jones is right now. And that's why nobody takes him serious. That's why everybody is just, screw you, Stephen. They literally are making him out to be a clown on ESPN.
Experience as an assistant, first-time head coach, 4-year deal puts him in Dallas through 2028, which notably is when Dak Prescott's current contract runs through. Here's Jerry Jones with more on the hire.
I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience.
Look at him up there.
Yes, to some, and it might be couched as a less than glamorous hire. What I would say to
I'm still
you
trying to understand what risk it
is I got here taking shots and not shoddy shots.
Shoddy shots.
I got here taking shots.
Not shoddy. Not shoddy.
He couldn't wait to get that
Couldn't
line
wait to get that.
off.
Yeah, he set that one up. I'm gonna say shots. Then I'm gonna hit him with the shoddy.
Oh.
They're gonna be like, ooh wee.
Shoddy
What
shots.
just happened? The guy's sitting right there.
Beside him.
This is a less than glamorous hire, Brian. Any thoughts?
It's a risk.
Big risk. Biggest risk I've ever taken.
Literally.
I hit oil. Biggest risk. You don't think I take risk?
Man.
I'm just going to tell y'all this right now. I'm social media. I am a genius at it. I spent 8 minutes watching my phone, watching that press conference, and I could not turn away because it.
Let me say something here, because at the moment, Jeff Saturday, those who can, those who can't, talk about those who can. And can you or can you not? Because Jeff Saturday, you were the biggest risk at head coach, and it certainly didn't pay off because, oh my God, you failed miserably. But go on.
It was the train wreck that everybody came. You can't turn
Your time was definitely a train wreck, Jeff Saturday. It was a train wreck, but go on.
When I saw the one-handed air quote by Steven, when he talked about
That's coming.
the drought, I was like, they have lost. They've lost all.
Let's just play it. Let's play it since you mentioned it, and then we'll just go all in on it.
It's unbelievable.
So this is what I meant when I said, wait till you're not going to believe what they wouldn't say. So Stephen Jones addressed how long it has been, which is 29 seasons, that the Cowboys haven't even been in the NFC Championship game, and this is how he said it.
You always have to evaluate, where it didn't go right last year, and obviously we're also evaluating where it didn't go right. In terms of, this drought that people say we're in terms of a championship game or a Super Bowl.
It only took 40 years in biblical times to find the promised land. 40. We went on a circle of the desert 40 years. We're at 30.
So here's
the drought.
Like, if I had these people's money, I would not care about anything anybody had to say about me and the way I operate my business. Like, I just wouldn't pay attention. But they're clearly paying some attention to it, right?
They are.
Because that's what this means, right? Like, people say drought. It's probably actually a lot worse than a drought.
Yes.
It's a famine, or it's an ice age, more like a drought. But what Jerry's talking about, like, I get my proverbial ass kicked. Like, he's saying, like, this is what people say about me to criticize me. My response is, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, if you really want it to be, this is my team and I'm going to run it the way I want to, then sort of, say it with your chest, right? I mean, like, actually, like, believe in it and stand by it.
I think the success and financial security that he has is not the same as being celebrated. And I think that's what it comes down to, is he wants to convince us that he is the Jerry Jones that won 3 Super Bowls back in the day, and he's the Jerry Jones that can build this team. And they've been good. So while we do have fun with the way that he's been behaving recently, like, the teams haven't been awful. Like, there are some really terrible organizations in this sport and in other sports. The problem is the decisions that he makes, they seem to make less and less sense as we go along. Because if you wanted to keep this staff, then keep the staff together and pay the coach that you have. Why would you try to keep this staff together with the offensive coordinator and then let the head coach walk away?
And they've also lost other staffers, right? The special teams coach left. So I think they were caught off guard. I think they thought they were going to get a deal done with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he didn't like the deal on the table and he left. So I think they were caught flat-footed. They hit this process a week in. They generally handle it a lot differently than other teams do anyway. Look, if you break it all the way down, like, Brian Schottenheimer is a first-time head coach. So is Ben Johnson. So is Aaron Glenn. So is Liam Cohen. We don't know. Brian Schottenheimer might be better than all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, right.
We don't know that. It just feels very odd and haphazard the way they're doing it.
Yeah. So who else was once a first-time head coach? Bill Belichick and Andy Reid, and everybody has to start somewhere. I feel bad for Brian Schottenheimer.
Absolutely.
A man who was quite literally born into this. He's Marty's son and all the rest of that. And all of the questioning / vitriol is going to sound to him as though it's aimed at him, when I think really none of it is. There's no way of knowing whether he's going to be the greatest coach of all time, the worst coach of all time, or somewhere in between where most people are. What it is, however, unquestionably, is another example of Jerry doing what he has continued to do, which is put someone in that position who did not have other options, who does not in any way have the footing upon which to stand to say, no, we're going to do it a different way. He continues to be the person running the show. And that is, he tripled down on it with this move at a time later in his life where some of us thought, with the drought that they've been going through and how badly things went last year, that maybe this would be the time that he would step back with a little bit of self-analysis and say, you know what? maybe I need to try something different.
Right.
We'll leave it right there. There you go, people. There you go. I'm just going to keep sailing on with the SS Cowboys headed for the iceberg. I'm Mark Holmes, and I hope you're having a great day. Peace.